Come on, don't fight it. There you go. Hey gang, welcome back. Gamer Penguin here. And as promised, today we're working on the Etho style mob grinder. So this is one layer, and this is what it looks like inside. All the green areas here are spawning platforms. These half slabs keep spiders from spawning because they would gum up the works. They're all empty now, so let's bust that out. Go down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, so loud. Oh. Look at the little guy struggle. Let's go from up here. So, one over. So from the center point here, let's do that just for fun. You're out 9 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 blocks out from the center point in 4 directions. And then here are your walls. You don't need a corner block here. But this is the footprint. And this is the basis. So we will head over to where I'm actually building this thing in the survival world and see how we're doing. So, there she is. That's 4 layers floating up there. And it's already pretty efficient. Right now it's daytime. You see I got the beacon working on clearing out the area. And yeah, it spits out a fair bit of stuff. I don't have all of the I don't have the hoppers and whatnot, receiving system for all the mob drops. But this thing's working out quite well. You can see I'm flattening out and lighting up this surface area. Let's go up top. And climb, climb, climb. Good heavens, this is tedious. I wish, just for the, you can hear it working already. I wish in Minecraft there was something you can do to build just an efficient elevator, like run a rail up here like a ladder. Just put a minecart on its side or something. So here we are. So as it turns out, and we're in the small plains area, by the way. That little place down in the corner, you can just barely see right there. That's that cross of torches is the very corner of the giant map back home. This is one of my favorite things to do these days. Whee! And this whole man-made lake down here, by the way, I did this first, and this is for safety. I have not died once building this thing. And I'm using jack-o'-lanterns to light up this area, so I got a pumpkin patch running along the edge here. This is something I should have showed you last episode. This is the automatic 2-furnace setup in its simplest form, just freestanding thing. And then what I showed you was all a matter of rearranging the bits and pieces so it looks nice. One cool thing about doing this where I am is all these woods around here, obviously this thing's all built out of wood. Just tearing down the trees to clear this area has supplied the materials to build the farm. And you'll notice I got a full 4-level beacon here running on haste 2. Whoops, wrong one. There we go, haste 2. As you can imagine, flattening this out take a lot of effort. Basically what you do is you shave off the high spots and then use it to fill in the low spots. So again, all self-sustaining, and I said no shortage of supplies coming out of all the caving I'm doing. I haven't yet resorted to an X-ray machine. I may do that next time as a small tutorial. But let's go back up here and I'll show you the process of building one layer. This thing's 4 layers now. I'm going to go up to 10. And full credit, this is an Etho design from Ethos Lab. There will be a link to his tutorial. It's a couple years old, but it still works. As I was saying, the advantage is there's no moving parts in it. So no updates, doesn't create a huge amount of lag. So here we are. Oh, hey, I forgot to clear out my inventory. Be right back. Whoa! Where did you come from? Not cool, dude. How did that happen? Block light 7 at the edge. No big deal. Nothing's going to spawn up here now. So, I'm going to color code this for simplicity. So we're going to do the walls in oak. It's all out of that abandoned mine shaft I was telling you about. So the first layer, I'm going to put back on this. This block stays empty, as does this corner. Water blocks are going to go there. Then you just keep doing that all the way around. So, there we go. This is the wall of the first layer. And now, in here, got a little bit of dirt. I'm going to take the dirt, and dirt's going to go there. I'm getting ahead of myself now. So, I'm going to do the second layer of the wall first. So there are the spawning platforms. Here's what I was doing with that dirt. I'm going to put the water blocks there, and then the dirt will keep it in place. That way, we can get all the water in place. And then just bust out the dirt blocks on our way out. Alright, all set. And then use these birchwood slabs for the half slabs. Of course, I've heard that there was an outbreak of measles stemming from Emerald City Comic-Con in Seattle, which isn't far from me. So apparently there's been some bug running around the nerd community of the Seattle area. So, if we seem a bit disjointed, it's because I keep cutting off to a cough. So now we want to carry up the walls 2 more and then put a roof on top of it. Those dirt blocks make it easy to get back up here if you fall off too. few. I just forget the corners. And then the roof. Okay. So, there's that. A hole there. Next step, we're going to do all of this. See, if we didn't have these dirt blocks here, the water would be pushing us all over the place. This way, we can do it at our leisure and still hop around on the platforms without getting shoved to the center. It's done. I keep losing the chest. There we go. I need that dirt. So, the problem here, at this point we're ready to start backing out. The trouble is we can't go out through the top because we got to take this ladder out. So, whoops. So what we're going to do, getting up towards Cloud Layer. There's my little homestead there. Whee! Fill a bucket. We'll drop a bucket of water here in the landing zone. Then we'll just go out the bottom the way the mobs do, and then we'll take the bucket back. We might have a mob or two to deal with when we get here. So... where's my dirt? There we go. So, pop that in there. And then that block of dirt we just stuck in there is this from the next level. So, final check. Everything looks good. So, all we gotta do, just bust out our dirt. Push us right back to the center. And this is how the mobs will get pushed around. And you see completely dark, so all is well. And just bust this out. Oh, you. Come on, bring it. And that's why we don't worry about creepers. Oh man, I busted my helmet. I wasn't hugely impressed by my helmet, but it was like fire protection. I got all like fire protection this last round, except for my previous chest was fire protection as well. This was fire protection and aqua affinity, I think. Still having some trouble finding just the perfect gear, more or less. I got a nice uber shovel. Spoon! If you're a fan of The Tick. The comic book or the animated series, I don't think they did Spoon. His battle cry, The Tick was a kind of deconstructive superhero, and his battle cry was Spoon! Anyway, efficiency 4, unbreaking 3. That's the, I think the best first, but you can get like silk touch on a spoon, but that seems to me to be kind of unnecessary. Or not unnecessary. It's a luxury thing. You can see what's down there. There's a nice little cavern down there where I can put all the workings of the item gathering. So, that's how you build one layer of this, and then you just keep stacking it up on top of itself like a layer cake. Etho came up with this design, or at least he's where I learned it. And like I said, I'll link to his video. He says it's not worth going past 10. That's going to give you plenty of mobs for any purpose. The time spent building more layers or building multiples of these is better spent working on the landscape, which is what we're going to do. And then I'll tell you that story that I said I was going to. But first, have a nice sleep out in the stars, but make sure it's safe first. Horse, watch out for me. Okay, we've lived through the night. Here's a map of what's going on. This is double out. Is it just that? What is it, blocks or ambient? Ambient noise. Oh, nope, I was wrong. Wish there were sound for nothing but the ender portals. Here's the map. What we're working on there obviously is the farm. You can see the portal is that little brick there. Gray block up above it. Like I said, I had to double out because this thing is in the corner of just a single map. If I'd been planning ahead, I would have made the map first and then chose my location based on that and moved it around a bit, but it doesn't really matter. It's just not quite as picturesque on a map. So let's drop off my excess wood and we'll get to work on landscape. So here's the story I was going to tell you. As we know, I work at a toy store, and I only work part-time, and it's highly unlikely I'm going to get to full-time in a timely fashion, so to speak. Don't need those, don't need those, don't need those. No. Where am I? There. Ah, peace and quiet. So, yeah, I'm going to be at the toy store. It's going to be a part-time job. I'm not going to make it to full-time anytime soon. So I got to start looking for something else. So I put out some applications, and I got a call back pretty quickly from a, let's just say, a video game retailer. If I told you the name, you would probably recognize it. A big name in the States. I don't know about worldwide. But I got a call back from the manager who was very excited to meet with me. And he said the thing that he liked and his boss liked was that on my resume I said I'm career-minded. Apparently most of the people who apply for jobs at video game stores just want to sell video games. And, you know, I said I'm looking for management and to move up in the company. He was very excited by that. So on March, and he offered me the job during my first interview. There was no callback or consultation. He basically came into the interview wanting to hire me, it seemed like, and he did. And for about a week, we emailed back and forth, talking about how I would juggle. It was another part-time job, so how am I going to juggle my schedule with the toy store? And that worked out just fine. On March 14th, I went in for the sort of paperwork day. Met a couple of the people. I think I met one guy. And I already knew one guy who was working there as a coincidence. He used to work at the toy store, in fact. And you do all the paperwork you do to get on the books, how to clock in and out, all that. And, he scheduled me for 2 days the next week. March the 14th was a Friday. So I was scheduled to start the next day, the next week, March 21st. Whoa! Okay. Oh, and there's a cave down here too. Oh, wonderful. All right. Let's see if this is anything. No, it just loops back around and opens up again. And this is nothing serious to worry about. Fine. It was March 21st was the day I was supposed to start. Today is April 22nd, for the record. So I went in on the 14th. Everything seemed fine. I was supposed to start the next Friday. I called in on Thursday to confirm my schedule. It was like, hey, I'm supposed to start. Just want to make sure I'm on there. And the guy said, I called and I asked for, I said, hey, is the manager so-and-so there? And the guy said, no, and I don't think he's coming back. And I was like, oh, well, I'm supposed to start tomorrow. And the guy said, no, I mean, I don't think he's coming back ever. It turned out, come to pass, that not only did this guy, between the day I got hired, between the day he hired me, let's lower those block sounds, and the day I was supposed to start, 6 days, he not only quit, but he literally went to lunch and never came back. I don't know what the story was. I never found out what that backstory was. But yeah, he left the place in a total shambles. There was no assistant manager at the store either, so there was really no one to take over. And by the time I walked in on Friday, they had pulled one of the managers from another store to take on this store as well. So he's managing 2 stores, which is apparently a thing they do to save money. It's all about saving money. So I went in on Friday and I said to the manager was out at lunch. The new manager was out at lunch. And I said to the guy who was there, like, it's no big deal to push back my start date until everything is sorted out, if there's any, trouble training me. And the guy there, who was sort of the de facto assistant manager at the time, said, no, you're here. You may as well get started. And the manager got back from lunch and sort of put me to work and training me. And he said he really didn't have time to train me. And I said, it's not a big deal. So I worked that day and just kind of learned by doing, was thrown in the deep end. I picked stuff up. There was stuff about it that I liked, stuff about it I didn't. It was like any other job. That was Friday. That night, and apparently, I forgot this part. The guy who had hired me didn't tell anyone that he'd hired me. Didn't tell his own boss, so the new boss didn't know who I was. He saw me on the schedule, but he didn't know that I needed training. So he had no clue what to do with me. And he said he just didn't have time to train me. And the other guy who was there said, well, I'll just sort of teach him what I can. And he was a pretty good teacher. I learned a fair bit in the couple days I was there. The guy who had hired me had also not left any of the notes from all of my communications with him about working out the schedule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the new manager had no idea what my availability was, and there was no schedule for the next week either. So I emailed him on Friday night my availability, essentially what my schedule was for the toy store, all the way, as I knew it then, which is about 2.5 weeks. And, I sent him this email. I worked on Saturday, saw him Saturday. I said, hey, did you get my email? He said, yeah, but I haven't had time to look at it. I said, okay. And that was the last I ever heard from him. It was a full week before I emailed him and said, like I said, I heard nothing. Hang on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I sent him an email, said, hey, what's going on? How's it going? Come in the store together. Do you have a schedule yet? And 2 days later, what I got back from this guy was an email. It took him 2 days to send me a 1-sentence email. And that sentence was, I do not currently have you on the schedule. No further information. No, hey, we're working on it. Sit tight. Sorry this is taking so long. None of that. Just, I ain't got nothing for you. I was off from the toy store for the next 2 days, so I wasn't coming to town. I have quite a commute, as you said. And that was one of the things working out with the video game store, was working out my schedule so that I could work essentially, a half-day shift at one job, because they both were part-time jobs and part-time half days, 4 or 5 hour shifts. I'm going to turn the blocks off. Sounds off now. And working out the schedules so that I could work both jobs, basically balancing both jobs. So I was off for 2 days, and I said, okay, if I don't hear anything from this guy by the end of those 2 days, I'm going to write a letter of resignation, deliver it, and just wash my hands of the whole thing. Because the whole scenario left me with such a bad taste in my mouth for not just, working for this company, working for this guy, but the company as a whole. I mean, working at this shop or for this manager, but the company as a whole just felt so disorganized, and why, there's, that a company could get to this point was really I don't want a piece of this. And I didn't hear anything from the guy. He never emailed me back. In fact, I've never heard from him since. So I wrote out an email, or I wrote out a letter of resignation, and delivered it the next day by hand. I went in, and remember I said this place didn't have an assistant manager. I went in, and the manager wasn't there. I said, I'm looking for so-and-so. And the guy said, well, I'm the assistant manager. What's the problem? So this guy, the manager, had hired an assistant manager and not informed, at the very least, he didn't inform me, which seems like something you do when you hire an assistant manager, is you inform your staff. And I was his staff at the time. But, I didn't know anything about it. And that was just the final nail. It's or I thought was the final nail. I know I'm doing the right thing. I don't want to be a part of this company. I hand the assistant manager of this store my letter of resignation, and I say, this is a letter of resignation. And I swear on the lives of my nieces, his response was, okay, awesome, thanks. So the wrong response to an employee quitting. And I knew, that was when I knew. That was my last communication. I haven't heard from them since. And for those 2 days I worked, I still haven't been paid. And for what little money I'm going to make, I'm almost it's not worth the whatever, $50 I'm going to get on that one paycheck for 8 hours of work to get anywhere near this company again. On the other hand, my big fear is that they will send me a W-2 at the end of the year saying that I got income from them when I didn't. So that becomes, like I said, that's my fear, and the only reason I would be interested in going back and asking that. But that's one of the things, as I said last week, it's just something that was eating up my time. And why I didn't get any episodes out for a little bit. There were other factors. A very dear friend of my family passed away. And I said it was March 14th was the day I started. I remember that because March 15th is the day he died. So, yeah, and it was it was cancer he died from. So, just, I've had stuff going on. And just wanted anybody who's listening or interested to know that's why. And, these are isolated incidents. It's not something that I plan to happen again. On the other hand, I am still looking for a second job, so that's going to be less free time for recording. But I'm still liking making these and recording these episodes and playing Minecraft. I'm loving this project. I'm having a ball, and I can't wait until it gets running fully. This thing runs pretty efficiently, by the way, during the day when the surface is all lit up. Yep, there's a guy. At night, when it gets dark, it slows down a little bit, but I can stand here for a while and just watch mobs rain. I won't. I know that's how I ended the last episode. But, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this episode. I've got, going to do a little something from a horsey. I just like having the horse around. Like, I don't have to ride around at all. There you go. I'm trying to think of a name. Diamonds. I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got going on right now. Minecraft news. No firm date yet for version 1.8. The 1.8 update, which is going to add all the new stone that I want, so I'm still limited to the spaces I've got. I've got other projects. I'm going to keep working on this next week, at least for a bit of the episode, show you updates. You won't necessarily watch me build anything. But, okay, now how is this happening? But yeah, I'll show you some updates, and we may talk about, for sure I'll show you the, an x-ray machine so we can check out, see how well I'm doing with the caving, lighting up underground. I'm doing this to out from the center point of the spawner out to 128 blocks, by the way. 128 is the distance within which zombies will, or mobs will spawn. So, if a mob is spawning out there, that means it's not spawning in there. So you want to take away any other potential spawning area centered around me as the player, so that so we have a max spawn situation within the grinder tower. And it's not going to look like this, by the way. It looks pretty patchwork because of the different woods, but I've got an idea for an outer shell that's going to go on this. And I'm going to stick with the man-made lake. I like this this vibe. And then I showed you, I don't remember if I showed you or not, there's a water source block within that tube where there will be. I don't have it built yet. The reason for that is going to be, well, I'll let that be a surprise. But that's pretty much all I had for this week. Next week, as I said, we'll work on the x-ray machine, a bit of caving, and talk about future projects. I maybe might take on the Ender Dragon next week. That's one of the things I can do to keep busy. And then that'll open up the possibility, for building an an Enderman grinder in the end. But we shall see. That's it for today. I'll see you next time.